All right, good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Days like today, days like Friday are very difficult for traders who want to find meaning in everything, right? When you look and you say, well, this has moved, so what's it mean? Which is a common mentality for traders. When the market starts to go like this, it's very difficult for them because there's a lot of movement, but not necessarily with a lot of meaning, and that doesn't quite make logical sense for a lot of traders. They think, okay, got to move, has to have meaning, but what's it mean? And they're left kind of going, do I buy here? Do I sell here? What, back to the same questions. And today is one where I was asked, hey, what do I think of the action here today? And I just responded, not much. Not much. I don't read too much into it, and I'll show you why, and show you kind of what's going on there with it. But let's start with the challenge. Still in all cash. The challenge watch list is very vanilla. I guess that might be the right word. No insult to vanilla, but most stocks look the same. If we just click on view all, here's American Airlines. This is in a category that's, dropped hard and is falling again today. There's another category which is like Apple, which is dropped hard and is rallying today. Those are the two categories and the two charts that are out there. You have Apple and you have American Airlines. Okay, what's Amazon? Well, Amazon's like Apple. Okay, what's Boeing? Well, Boeing's pulling an Apple. All right. We'll come back to Alibaba. Here's Bank of America. There's more, pulling American Airlines. We have Caterpillar. This is pulling a little more of an Apple. But you get the point. Here's Chipotle. It's pulling an American Airlines. It's one where, we have stocks that are up today. Market's up nicely. But we have plenty of stocks that are down that had the exact same chart as a Microsoft or an Apple and are lagging here today. We have others, kind of like CSX, just kind of spinning at these levels. And so we just have a lot of stocks that have done the exact same thing, a little bit of differentiation today on the upside, with some of them rising, some of them falling. But you'll notice none of these are close to a 3-7 crossover. And when we go through the watch list, there's still quite a bit that has to happen to get some of these to give us either an upside or a downside crossover. So I'll continue to be patient. I'll continue to look for a change in the market vibe to go play a SPY position for the challenge. If we get a change in the market vibe, then I will go and do that. Today is not changing the market vibe. We'll go look at that a little bit closer here in a moment. But there are two stocks on the watch list that are a little bit different in terms of they might be close to being tradable. We do have one upside crossover, and that's JD. JD is not triggering bullish because it has moved more than two average true ranges to get the crossover, so no signal there to go after. But the two charts that are different than the rest out there are Netflix. Netflix doesn't quite have a 3-7 crossover on it here today. It's still about $1 short, from having that crossover. But the option values are not terrible for Netflix. They've improved a little bit here today. It's one of those where the stock's up about $4, and if we come take a look at the options here, just amazing that the market's up 64 points and the VXX hasn't fallen. But anyway, that's off topic. But if we take a look here at some of the at the money, let's get one that's a little more traded here. We just come in and chart this in the prices. This is something where the Netflix, these options were $13-14 yesterday or Friday at the close. And today they're 15. What's your percentage gain? It's less than 10% on those options for a $4 move in Netflix. That's a tough one to swallow. And what do you see? You see implied volatility getting sucked out. And so, stocks gone up. Options really haven't. And for stocks that have only risen by 1% or less here today, that's generally the case. With stocks like an Apple that have moved significantly more, the options have moved. But we are seeing some option compressions in Netflix here today, which is nice to see. Would be awesome to see a nice little buy signal tomorrow. We'll see if we get it. But this is one that is close. Could be a signal sooner than later. The other one is Alibaba. And this is one where the 3 and the 7 aren't too far away from each other. We're seeing option compression again on Alibaba today, which is nice to see. Yeah, the stock's down, but it's kind of similar action to Netflix today with the stock slightly up. But this is one where, if we saw a little move to the upside here tomorrow, has the potential to trigger here for the challenge. So these are the two charts that look different, that have a different element to them outside of JD that could trigger here as soon as tomorrow morning, potentially there. So that's the challenge. Going to go in today with going into the close here with cash, and we'll look to react to the to the next signal here. Okay. All right. Now, as far as the market vibe goes, I mentioned that I will jump into some SPY calls if the price is right, if we see a change in the market vibe. We do not see a change in the market vibe today. I know the S&P, it's well off of its lows, from Friday morning, but we're not seeing a change in it. It's gone from -10 to -8. That's a pretty lousy move, a pretty nominal move, in terms of the market vibe. And it does very little to suggest that, okay, the bulls are back in control. And it does a lot to suggest that volatility is going to continue. And that means there's upside volatility and downside volatility here with it. But one of the things I think is a little more damning for the bulls today to argue that this is more than just a small bounce is the bullish percent index, and it barely moving, here on the day to the upside. It is something that fell significantly on Friday, even though the market almost ended green, depending on which metric you're looking at or which index you're looking at. But today, big move to the upside, zero upside move in the bullish percent index, and that's typically a sign that the bounces we're seeing are simple oversold bounces. They're just oversold bounces, and a lot of times we'll see another batch of selling come in. Now, where will that batch of selling come in? I'm not sure. I've been watching the market here today, looking for some sort of upside volume that may potentially mark a top and a little pullback. I know we're, 30 points off the highs here. But so far, have not seen anything that suggests, hey, top is into this bounce and it can't bounce any higher. In fact, quite the opposite there. Just the nominal volumes here with it. Do we see a little dance around 3,000 for a little while? We could. We could see some compression around that level. But, in all, we're not seeing the metrics move here today. If we pull up something as simple and one of the faster moving metrics, like the number of stocks above the 7-day moving average, even after this bounce today, there are only 23 stocks in the S&P 500 that are above their 7-day moving average. That's incredible. That's incredible. For a market that has moved so far off the lows, for there only to be 7, that is absolutely remarkable here. And you can see the names, Netflix, Micron, which, has to be said, Micron is held up phenomenally well during all of this market sell and everything else that we've seen. I know on a percentage basis it's not going to look like it, but when you just pull up the chart and you compare it to what the indexes have done and some of the other stocks in its sector, Micron is held up remarkably well. We have other stocks, just there's not a consistent sector or industry here. There's just kind of a hodgepodge of stocks, nothing that suggests that, hey, the bulls are taking any kind of control. If we look at the number of stocks above or below the 20-day moving average, we only have 7 stocks above the 20-day moving average. 7 stocks above the 20-day moving average, and I'm not 100% sure. I do have the data, but we'll have to go back and do some digging. I don't recall ever seeing this number this low. I don't recall. I may go scan different dates and see, but yeah, this is an incredibly low number. Only 7 stocks in the S&P trading above their 20-day moving average. Just remarkable. Okay, so we have a lot, a lot for stocks to claw back, and to grind on back. I know, bottom pickers want to be in, running into things. As I mentioned Friday afternoon, I would look at, picking up a few things. I sold 2 of the things I picked up here today. I'm holding on to Verizon, and kind of just running with that, but not with huge expectations. I think the majority of that oversold bounce is now in. And yep, we could go straight up depending on everything else that happens. But for me, if the market decides to go straight up, then I'll wait for signals to come in and we'll react to them. But I'm not really in the mood to try to bet on a straight up. I'm willing to pick up on some dips when it feels like Friday afternoon, when it feels like it's just a little too overcooked. But no way am I willing to buy into rips, or I'm not even really willing to sell the rips until I see what I want to see, which is some topping volume. And so far we have not seen that that topping volume here. Okay, but the pace of the market is such that it suggests that the bears are still in control overall. And when we come and we look at other periods of the market that have gone through bigger moves, we haven't had one over the last year that's like this. So we have to go back to, other points of time. And so if we come back, let's go to, should we go 2015? Yeah, let's just go 2015. I mean, there's a bunch of different areas, times we can go to. But if we just come back to 2015 and we look at this just kind of really harsh, fast sell-off, right? Then we had a kind of a spinning day, a gap up and sell day, then a big up day, and then another big up day. And this is not uncommon action, but it is common for all the bulls to start cheering and say, the dip's done, let's get in, and then to get their hands caught in the cookie jar a couple times. And we saw that in 2015 with most bounces, with most hard sells like this. We do see this type of action, but it's even difficult action for the bears because you can get a big bad bearish engulfing or something like that and no follow through. But when do investors start to step in? When do they get more confident to step in? They get more confident to step in when we start to see less movement. It doesn't necessarily matter if it's upside or downside, but when we're seeing huge swings in the market, investors are going to hold off. When we start to see the market, just have a lower range on it throughout the day, investors are now start willing to look and go, this stock is compelling because of earnings, because of revenue, because of, margins, because of all the different fundamentals. I'm going to step in. There's a stable price to start to step in and to analyze. But when we continue to have the wild swings, investors don't have that, and so they tend to stay a little more on the sidelines than jump in. And as far as stable price action goes, today is anything but stable. We have had since the market bell opened, we saw a move from 29.90 down to 29.40. So we saw a 50-point sell-off, then followed by 29.40 up to 30.40, followed by a 100-point rally in the S&P. And now we are, we're 50 points off of the high. So we've had two 50-point sells, 100-point rally, and that goes after overnight having two 100-point moves on the S&P. It's just a fantastic pace of movement. And we're not seeing stocks move at this pace, but the index moving at this pace, to where it does keep investors a little more sidelined. Yeah, they're willing to jump into a few things on a day like today when analysts get all hyped and excited about an Apple, and hey, you're never going to have a chance to buy Apple this low, and start throwing out rhetoric like that, and yeah, it's going to drive it up for a day or two. But in terms of the market overall, very little price stability, as is. Okay. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.